So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to taxi all the way to the beginning of the runway. We're going to turn around, then I'm going to go full power with the airplane, and we're going to be off the ground in a few seconds.
Edaville traffic, Sport Star, India, Juliet, Kilo Yankees, backtracking 31.
Get a little bit nervous? No?
Not really.
Good for you.
Oh, you asked me if I'd been in a small plane before. I have been in a helicopter.
Okay. Hey, yeah,
Not the same.
no issues with that though? Cool.
Fun.
You're not afraid of the heights or anything, huh?
No.
Awesome.
I didn't take control though. I just sat and watched, but something a little simple.
Yeah. Okay, so just going to turn this thing around, line us up on the runway. I'm just going to take these little side vents here and close them so we don't get too much cold air blowing at us. All right, this camera is malfunctioning for some reason. Try that again. Okie doke. So I'm just going to take this control stick, put it in this position, and I'm going to go full power with the plane, and we'll be off the ground. Just starting my clock.
Edaville traffic, Juliet, Kilo Yankees on the roll 31. Straight climb out to 2,000 feet.
And simple as that. Right now we're about 600 feet over the ground.
Approaching altitude. Leaving altitude.
It's a little bit cloudy up here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop it down a little bit. We're 1,200 feet over the ground, but the visibility is kind of crappy up here, so I'm going to go down.
Got scared for a minute.
Yeah, sorry
I felt
about that.
Drop.
Yeah, I should have gave you a little bit of a heads up there.
Okay. Wanted to make sure that you did that
Oh,
and
yeah.
it didn't just happen.
I did.
Cars look like toys from a...
That's right. Yeah, so we have a thin layer of cloud kind of just sitting right above us. You can almost see if you look up, there's the blue sky above, and then this gray, soupy crap right in front of us. So we don't want to go into the cloud because then we can't see anything. So right here around 1,000 feet is fairly decent. That bumping around we're feeling, that's normal. That's just different temperature of air, kind of pushing us around. So what we're looking at right here, this area right here, this is Wasaga Beach.
Never realized it was that big.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a growing town. So, when do you want to start learning how to fly this thing?
Never.
You ready?
Sure.
All right, so why don't you take whatever hand you feel more comfortable with and just put your hand on the control stick, just gently on there. And I'm going to walk you through a few things. The first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to turn the airplane. So if we want to take the plane and go that way, all we're going to do is take this control stick and a little push to the left like that. You'll notice the wings banking. The airplane's in a turn now.
Okay.
We want to straighten it out, we just pull it back a little bit. Now we're back to straight. And if we want to turn right, opposite to what we just did. A little bit of a pull to the right. You notice it doesn't take much. The way I like to describe it is you give it a little push and just let it take over. And whenever you don't want to turn any steeper, you just pull it back like that. You can move it around a little bit like that and it's not going to do much of anything unless you commit to a side like that and hold it there. So that's our two motions of, we call that roll. Left roll, right roll for turning. The next thing we can do is we can implement either a climb or a descent, and we're going to do a bit of a climb. So we're going to take this plane and we're going to pull back on this control stick. You'll notice the nose come up. Probably can't see over the front anymore.
I can.
And the plane is climbing. The reason why we know it's climbing is because we look at this gauge right here. This is called an altimeter. This tells us how high we are above sea level. Right now we're 1,940 feet above sea level. So when we get to 2,000 feet, we're going to take the stick and we're going to level
Charlie
it.
Sierra Yankee Charlie Sierra is taking position on runway 13 for departure to the circuit.
So right here is 2,000 feet. We're going to take that stick and push it forward just to level it off again. You'll notice it's not climbing anymore. It kind of just paused there. And it's a little bit of a descent, just a touch. So I'm going to pull back a little bit more again. There we go. So, the three most important gauges on a plane are, this one's number one. That tells us how fast we're moving through the air. Right now we're doing 82 knots. They're different than kilometers. We're moving much faster than kilometers. We're doing about 150 kilometers an hour right now. But that tells us our speed. As long as we're going forward with a decent speed, there's no danger of the plane ever dropping.
Okay.
This thing tells us how high we are. And this one tells us if we're climbing or descending in small increments. So this one takes a while to respond, and this one tells you right away. So if I take this nose of the plane and push it down, you'll notice this arrow will start going down right away, below the zero. That tells us we're descending at 500 feet per minute. You'll notice this is going to start responding by going down.
Calling with traffic, Yankee Charlie Sierra is airborne off runway 13, climbing for the circuit.
A lot of stuff to pay attention to, but for your first time, the main thing is just to focus on playing around with the control stick and what it does with the plane. So now that we're back to kind of level flying, I'm going to let you control the plane. I'm going to take my hand away from the control stick and let you get used to just moving it around and look forward and see what it's doing with you. So you have control of the aircraft. Very nice. It takes some getting used to. Usually it takes people a good 10 minutes to really get the feeling without going like this all over the sky.
Yeah.
And Collingwood traffic, Yankee Charlie Sierra is turning left downwind, runway 13 for a stop and go. Collingwood.
So what we're just hearing another plane flying out of the Collingwood airport there. He's just announcing where he is in the sky. He can't hear us unless we push the talk button on the front. So that's where you guys are over there at Blue Mountain, right?
Yeah.
At any time, if you want me to take over control because you want to take photos or whatever, just let me know and I'll grab you control. Doing pretty good with this thing.
Thank you.
I always find most people, at least most people tell me, after their first time trying to fly a plane, they find it unexpectedly easier than they thought it would be.
Yeah.
Most people are under the impression it's really, really difficult. I find when I train people to fly, the most difficulty they usually have is not so much flying the plane, it's remembering all the procedures. How to talk on the radio properly, how to respect the laws of the air. That's where people have a hard time learning. That's the difficult part of being a pilot. The flying part, I find, comes naturally. Hey, you're doing really well. You're holding your altitude really nice. Like where we started at 2,000 feet, you're pretty darn close. That's good. So that's big old Blue Mountain.
Collingwood traffic, Yankee Charlie Sierra is turning final runway 13, stop and go Collingwood.
If you have any questions for me at all during the flight, please don't be afraid to ask away. But you're doing really, really good.
Thank you.
Most people, when they take the control stick, when they go to do a turn, they usually turn and start diving the plane or turn and climb the plane. And you have pretty good control of not really doing that too much.
Approaching altitude.
Like it's always tricky in the beginning to get used to how the plane turns and understanding as you make that turn, sometimes you have to compensate with a little bit of pull back to keep the plane up. If not, it will dive, but you're doing awesome. That altitude's amazing. Oh, that sun got bright all of a sudden. If there's any other place you want to fly over and check out too, you can go point it in any direction. I'll just give you advisories of areas that we have to watch out for.
Sierra's on the roll, runway 13 for the circuit.
Are you familiar with this area at all?
Not really.
No.
I've been to Blue Mountain before, but I'm not familiar with like the whole area.
So just so you got a rough idea where we are, obviously that's Blue Mountain and Collingwood we're above right now. further off in that direction over there is the city of Barrie. Behind us in that direction is Penetanguishene and Midland, popular cottage country area. So right now we're just kissing the clouds. If you look this way and look where the sun is,
Yeah.
you can kind of see that we're just underneath the cloud layer.
Leaving altitude.
So don't worry about the computer talking to you. The reason why it gave you a warning is, see that little blue thing there? I set it for 2,000 feet. So if you leave the 2,000 feet by 100 feet, it'll just give you audible warning.
Echo Kilo,
Alright.
it's Collingwood reading you 5 by 5.
Quebec Echo Kilo, copy.
Approaching altitude.
And Collingwood traffic, uniform, correction, Yankee Charlie Sierra is turning left downwind runway 13 for a stop and go.
Collingwood traffic, Quebec Echo Kilo is moving into position for takeoff on 13. Do a departure out towards the Saga Beach, so along the shore.
Well, today should be a great day for skiing because it's not too cold.
Yeah.
They got lots of snow on the hill. So you'll notice here that the ground, because of the hill, is getting kind of close to us now, right?
Yeah.
Kind of coming up. So we just have to watch that we don't fly into anything like one of those antennas over there.
Sure.
So what we could do is, yeah, if we just kind of fly along this way, at least we're not in danger of getting too close to the ground, because we can't climb up too much more today because of the height.
cloud.
Yeah, the cloud height. How old are you?
16.
Same age I learned how to be a pilot. So it is possible.
And Collingwood traffic, Yankee Charlie Sierra is turning left base runway 13 for a stop and go, Collingwood.
So right here, see how close the ground is to us, huh?
Yeah.
We have great control of this thing. And here we are coming
And
to
Collingwood
the
traffic,
top of
Yankee
Blue
Charlie
Mountain.
Sierra is turning final runway 13, stop and go, Collingwood.
Now we're going into the clouds, so we're going to have to bring it down a little bit.
Sure.
That's okay. I want you to be able to see where you're going.
Approaching altitude.
One looks so small.
Yeah.
They're skiing and like.
Leaving altitude. Approaching altitude. Leaving altitude.
Very nice. What I could do, what I generally do, is anytime I take somebody up for the first time, I can take a picture of you flying from over here. And I'll send it to you.
And Hollywood traffic, Yankee Charlie Sierra is on the roll, runway 13 for the circuit.
I'm guessing where the button is.
I think press the volume button, it'll take a photo.
I'm sorry?
I think if you press the volume button, it'll take a photo.
So there's a good shot. I think I took 2 of them. I think you like that one better, right?
A little bit.
Oh, I don't know. You decide.
Yeah, the one before. The second one kind of awkward.
Cool. Yeah, the other one you're kind of just looking in a different direction. Yeah, excellent control at this point. So if you'd like, we can go to a different area. We can go towards Midland or Barrie, whatever you want to check out.
Okay.
If we're going to go in that direction, the only thing I'd recommend is that we maybe follow the water shoreline here, the beach.
Yeah.
Because if we go too far inland, right over here is that Collingwood Airport, and it tends to be a little bit busy with people flying there.
Approaching altitude.
And Collingwood traffic, Yankee Charlie Sierra is turning left downwind, runway 13, stop and go, Collingwood.
Still no questions for me, huh? That's fine.
Leaving
You're kind of
altitude.
figuring it out, but...
Approaching altitude. Leaving altitude.
So that airport that I'm trying to
Approaching
avoid,
altitude.
I don't know if you can see, if you look sort of in this direction, there's like a white straight line over there. That's a runway. I don't know if you can see it. It's sort of... Yeah, we want to avoid that. So that's why if we stay on this side of that big highway in front of us...
Runway 13, stop and go, Collingwood.
Approaching
Because
altitude.
we can hear that there's somebody else kind of doing circles around there.
Alright.
Leaving
I can actually
altitude.
see him right now. He's just kind of flying right in front of our wing there.
Collingwood traffic, Yankee Charlie Sierra is turning final runway 13, stop and go, Collingwood.
Approaching altitude. Leaving altitude.
Maybe when we get over in that direction, maybe the sky will open up a bit more. You get better visibility.
Approaching altitude.
Well, you don't get to do this every Saturday morning. You guys just drive up from the city today?
No, yesterday.
Okay, cool. Oh, so it's not a terrible drive from Blue Mountain. I'm just going to make a radio announcement here just so other planes know where we are.
Calling what area? Traffic, Sports Star India, Juliet, Kilo Yankee, directly north of the field, over the shoreline, traveling east, southeast bound, 2,000 feet en route to Barrie. Calling with traffic, Yankee Charlie Sierra is on the roll, runway 13 for the circuit.
It's neat, the cloud in this area kind of is a bit lower. But we can go even lower, like we can go to 1,800 feet, 1,000, yeah, anywhere in this area is fine. This is the beginning of Wasaga Beach right here at that little point, and it kind of goes all the way along where you see that white stripe of snow.
Eatonville traffic, Quebec Echo Kilos overhead the field. We join mid-left downwind for 13.
Sand part of the beach looks so small from here, just sidewalk.
Yep.
Then you go and it's huge.
Yeah,
Leaving
exactly.
altitude.
Yeah, the area where like the big public beach
Approaching altitude.
is sort of at the end where you see the white stripe of snow end. It's a little bit bigger there, but yeah, you're right. When you're up here, it looks tiny. We're about the height
Leaving
of the
altitude.
observation deck at the CN Tower right now.
And calling with traffic, Yankee Charlie Sierra is turning left downwind, runway 13, stop and go, Collingwood.
Altitude. Leaving altitude. Approaching.
Dispatch, Golf Yankee Charlie Sierra.
Can I get a PIREP? We're just looking for cloud ceiling.
Sure, I'm right now at circuit altitude and there appears to be a haze, but I can see pretty much all the way down the shoreline. I can see the far end of the ridge. I can't exactly tell how high the base is because I'm seeing small wisps just above me, but it's definitely good enough to do some circuits.
Eatonville traffic, Echo Kilo, turning final 13.
Leaving altitude.
Yeah, so the big public beach is sort of
Approaching
right
altitude.
over there, almost where the trees kind of disappear a little bit.
Yeah.
You'll notice the beach gets a lot wider. A little bit of turbulence going on over here. That's completely normal. You're actually getting off pretty easy today. If you were to do this in a hot summer day, it's so turbulent, you're usually up and down in your seat, being shaken around.
Why is it different?
Well, what it is when that sun shines down and hits the ground,
Traffic, Yankee Charlie
it heats the air near the ground and hot air rises. So as that air is rising, it's coming up real fast and it hits the plane and shakes you around. In the wintertime, the ground is so cold that the sun doesn't really bounce off it as much. And plus the clouds act like a sunblock. So it's always better to fly on a cloudy, well, I wouldn't say a total cloudy day, but when you have a little bit of a blanket of cloud to block the sun. Similar to sunscreen on your skin.
Leaving altitude.
And Collingwood traffic, Yankee Travis Sierra is turning a long final for runway 13, stop and go Collingwood.
Yeah, it kind of looks hazy everywhere.
Yeah.
With traffic, Yankee Charlie Sierra.
Big old Wasaga Beach.
Stop and go.
Seatbelt traffic, Quebec Echo Kilo is in position for takeoff on 31.
Is there anything you want to try to do with the plane?
What could I do?
Well, we could always go back towards the airport and try a landing and a takeoff. It's up to you, or
Okay.
I don't know.
No, I want to try that.
You do want to try it? Okay. So, the airport we came from is going to be in that direction, so we'll just point us towards that way.
Collingwood traffic, Yankee.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just listening to, there's a lady flying around there right now. I just want to hear what runway she's using, and we'll use the same one. Now there's an entire procedure into landing at an airport. You can't just go and land at a runway that you look at. You want to land the plane into the direction of the wind. So if the wind is going this way, we want to land this way, into it. So that's what makes a pilot decide what direction of runway they use and which runway they use. So since we're not there to check the wind, I'm listening for her to make a broadcast. So let's go up just a little bit more, just for safety in case she's flying around here.
Approaching altitude.
But notice that when you're climbing steeper, I added more power just to help us climb. So I'm going to make a radio announcement to the airport and just let them know what we're up to.
Bell traffic, Sportstar, India, Juliet, Kilo Yankee is 5 miles north of the field at 2,000 feet. Going to descend to circuit height, cross overhead the field, and join the mid-left downwind, 3-1.
We're going right into a
Bell traffic, Quebec Echo Kilo just departed on 31. We're at 1700 right now en route to Collingwood, so we're not sure if we're crossing paths.
This is Juliet, Kilo Yankee. I'm keeping an eye out for you. I still have a negative visual, but we are directly north, so there should be no conflict.
Okay, we've leveled out at 1800.
So she took off on the runway that's going this way, and she's going that way. There should be no issue with her. So what we're going to do now is we're going to lower this plane down to 1,700 feet. You're going to have to start dropping it down a little bit. Oh, that's a good descent. So I'm reducing power. Because we don't want this thing to go too fast towards the ground. There's your 1,700. Very nice. Now, I don't expect you to get this, but I'm going to try to talk you through the landing, okay? So when it comes to landing a plane, the most important thing that we do is obviously direction of the runway, we try to aim for, and getting our airspeeds correctly. We control our speeds by the amount of pressure we put on the stick. So if you want to go faster, you push the stick forward, down.
Yeah.
If you want to slow down, you got to pull back.
Edenville traffic, Quebec Echo Kilos over Wasaga Beach at the shoreline. We're exited your zone.
Edenville traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankee, overhead the field to join them in left downwind, 31.
So there's the runway we're going to be landing on. We're going to continue off in this direction a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of a right turn. Because what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to do a flight that way, and then land. So straight this direction. Perfect. We'll just pull back on that stick just a touch to get us back to 1,700 feet.
Approaching altitude.
Very nice. So right around here, you're going to make a left turn in that direction.
Edenville traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankee is turning mid-left downwind, 31, full stop.
So now you can see the runway that we're going to land on right off to your left. We're going to fly straight this direction, sort of parallel with that runway at 1,700 feet. Right around there. That's good. We'll just straighten it up and we're going to go that way for a while. You're in a bit of a turn. Let's keep going a little bit that way. So this is where things start to get a little more complicated. What we're going to do is we're going to do a turn in that direction, and we want to point the plane that way. So you can start that turn.
Edenville traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankee is turning left base, 31.
Excellent. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to slow the plane down. I'm slowing the engine down. I want this speed to get to 65. So the way we're doing that, we just pull back a little bit on that control stick.
Approaching altitude.
There it is right there. Now I'm going to put a flap on. Changes the position of the wing a bit. Now we're going to do a left turn and keeping it at 65. It's tricky. So just a gentle, gentle left turn. A little much, so I'm going to pull back on the stick for you.
Edenville traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankee is turning final, 31.
So once we get it straight, I'm going to turn it back over to you for full control. All right. So here's our runway. This is where you're going to notice how the stick controls the speed. The stick gets really heavy here, so I'm going to let go of it, and I want you to feel it. There you go. So just test it out. Going faster, push the nose forward. That's right. That's right. So we're a little bit high. Might not be able to land this at this altitude, but if you point down too fast, it'll go too fast. That's good. So we'll just aim back towards the center, do a little bit of a right turn. Very nice, very nice. So we got to keep that, so keep that nose down. That's right, we don't want to go too slow. Let her come down, let her come down. Right around here, we're going to fly nice and parallel. I'm going to help you out here, just a little pull back. Beautiful. Nice job. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start applying some brakes with my feet, and we're going to turn around and I'm going to let you take off. So I'm steering with my feet while we're on the ground. So just keep that stick in your hand, and I'm going to steer with my feet. I'm going to turn this around. That was pretty good.
Edaville traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankee is backtracking 31.
So I'm steering with my feet, you'll notice here. If I push my left foot down, the plane will turn left. Right foot down. That takes some getting used to when somebody's learning how to fly. Because there's really nothing else that we drive with our feet. Okay, so I'm going to turn this thing around. So contrary to what the movies tell you about flying, what you're not going to want to do is you're not going to want to take that stick and just pull back. Because if you do, we're going to lift off the ground too early, we won't be going fast enough, and then we can enter a dangerous condition called a stall. So the important thing to do when you take off the airplane is just gentle pressure back. Just gentle, gentle. Once the plane starts lifting, you don't have to keep pulling back. You just keep it there and let it climb the way you were flying already, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a radio announcement. I'm going to go full power. I'm going to steer the plane with my feet, and then I'll start talking you through how to pull it back, okay? 65 is the number we're going to want.
Edaville traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankee is on the roll 31.
Here we go. I'm going full power with the plane. Steering with my feet. You can start gently pulling back on that nose, just gentle. Getting lighter, lighter, lighter. Now forward on that stick. Forward, forward, forward. No, no.
Okay.
I'm pushing it forward. There you go. We got to get that thing to 65. There you go. Once you get to 65, then you can allow it to climb. There you go. Nice. Beautiful. Pull back a little harder to get 65. Alright, now we're going too slow, so you got to find that happy little spot right in between. Not bad at all. Oh, too slow. Stick forward, stick forward.
Oh, sorry.
There you go. Forward is fast, back is slow. It's complicated. It takes people about 6 hours to figure this whole takeoff thing. So for me to throw it at you your first time doing this is a lot. But I think you did pretty darn good for your first time taking off an airplane.
Thank you.
Approaching altitude.
Yeah, just keep playing with the plane.
Leaving altitude.
Do whatever you like with it. Turn any direction. Just get comfortable.
Could you take over
Yep.
for a minute and go back to... Could we go back to where we were around Wasaga Beach?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Get some pictures?
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm going to get us out of this cloud.
Approaching altitude.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I know that from Toronto, like, want to go to Gaspé in Quebec, for example, it's like 17 hours away, like driving.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm 3 hours away from Toronto, around Blue Mountain. How long would it take to fly from here to Quebec?
If you're referring to a place like
and calling with
Gaspé,
Yankee Charlie Sierra is turning left downwind runway 13.
If you're correct about it taking 17 hours in a car, a little less than half the time. That is 6 hours,
Good morning,
maybe.
calling with Unicom. It's Bravo X-ray Whiskey for radio check, please.
We're right over top of the big public beach now.
And Bravo X-ray Whiskey, it's Yankee Charlie Sierra, you're 5x5.
It sounds crazy, but
Bravo X-ray Whiskey, thank you very much, 5x5.
people tend to need about 25 hours of flight training to get their license in this type of aircraft. So
That's it?
That's it. That's about $4,500 worth of an investment, and the license is good for life. You're a pilot for $4,500. So that's why a lot of people do it too. They'll get their license and they'll do flights like that to Quebec, and it just makes it fun, and you see all kinds of stuff, and bring a friend with you and whatever, and it's a lot of fun.
Calling with traffic, Yankee Charlie Sierra is turning left base runway 13 full stop, Collingwood. And calling with traffic, Foxtrot Bravo X-ray Whiskey is a Cessna 172, blue on white. Currently over the Thornberry area, descending through 2,100 feet, down 4, Collingwood, Bravo X-ray Whiskey.
Collingwood traffic, Quebec Echo Kilo is at 2,000 feet directly over the water at Thornberry. Don't have you in sight.
Bravo X-ray Whiskey, looking for traffic, I'll stay inland.
Copy that.
And Collingwood traffic, Yankee Charlie Sierra is turning final runway 13 for a full stop landing at Collingwood. And Bravo X-ray Whiskey looking, I'm actually abeam the water tower, probably about a mile south of the Thornberry water tower.
So if you had to guess the sense of direction there, which way do you think the airport we left from
Kilo
is?
is at 2.1 now over the water, just past Lower Bay en route to Owen Sound.
Back there to the left?
Yeah, you're pretty close, yeah. That's good. A lot of people have a hard time with that, finding their direction. Once they get up in the sky, they get lost.
I feel like that'd be my mom.
And calling with traffic, Bravo X-ray Whiskey, 2,000 feet, just coming up on the north section of runway 13.
Leaving altitude.
see a lot of stuff from up here. We'll do a big circle.
Approaching altitude.
Calling with traffic, Yankee Charlie Sierra is down and clear of all runways.
This gives you an idea why police use helicopters and planes to chase people, because it's almost impossible to outrun visual.
Whiskey, directly over the shoreline now, being the Blue Mountain ski slope, descending through 1900, inbound and participating.
So just think, if we were trying to track or follow a car, there's no way they're going to get away from us. If you have one person looking out and spotting it, and the other person flying, quite easy.
It looks so small and like they're going so much slower than they actually are.
Yeah. A little neat thing that this plane has, if you get sick of flying, you can hold this button down for a second here,
Autopilot.
and it flies for you. The computer's doing all the flying right now.
Really cool.
Autopilot. Disconnect.
Now I'm going to start turning us back towards the airport. You did awesome.
Thank you.
Adamville traffic, Port Star India, Juliet, Kilo Yankee, 6 miles north of the field, circuit height, going to cross overhead the field and join mid-left downwind, 3-1.
There's a little opening in the sky finally over that way.
Leaving altitude. Approaching altitude.
Well, that's where we started from, and I'm going to do that exact same procedure. Just kind of fly over top of the airport, do a left turn, another left turn, and one more left turn.
Edenville traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankee is overhead the field, 2 joins, mid-left downwind, 3-1.
Leaving altitude.
Edenville traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankees, turning left, mid-left downwind, 3-1.
Approaching altitude.
I got to hand it to you. You're very brave.
Thank you.
A lot of people are afraid to do this because they get a misconception from a lot of the TV and movies that are always showing planes crashing and silly stuff like that, and that's unfortunate because they're a lot safer than people think. As long as you're going forward, the thing flies.
I felt safer like this than I do driving.
There you go. That's right. A lot less people to hit.
Edenville traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankees, turning left base, 3-1.
I'm doing that same thing right now. I'm just kind of slowing the plane down, getting us to 65. Then I'm going to pull this flap lever. 1 and 2. I'm just trying to control the plane at 65 for the whole way down.
Edenville traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankees, turning final, 3-1, full stop.
That's pretty cool of your dad to let you do this.
He suggested it.
Uh-huh.
He suggested it.
Nice. When I started flying at your age, my parents were dead set against it. You're crazy, it's dangerous, and all this stuff.
When did they become okay with it?
That's right. Bingo! Nice and safe, back and safe and sound on the ground. So hopefully you enjoyed yourself.
I did, thank you.
More than welcome.
Edenville traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankees, clear, 3-1, backtracking 26 to the apron.